did you think about that introduction? When I watched it back, all I could think about was drinking that wine. But it's a bit too early in the morning to be doing that right now. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to have a look at the business model for Naked Wines. Now, we're going to dissect the business model using the business model canvas by Strategyzer, but first, let's have a look at their website and see what is going on and what they're all about. So this is the website you land on when you first go to Naked Wines. You can get a good understanding of what their value proposition is straight away by looking at their marketing page. What I find interesting firstly is they're trying to be our favourite place for buying wine. So I guess the value proposition is around buying wine, making it easy to buy wine, but there's got to be something more to it as well. So this is all about connecting winemakers to wine drinkers and kind of that being that middle person, that marketplace, if you like, for connecting these two different people together. So let's jump in right now to the business model canvas so we can dissect exactly what's going on with their business model to see what we can take from it for our businesses in the future. Okay, so the first thing to talk about, it doesn't have to be that you start with the value proposition, but in this case, because I've just checked out their website, I've actually ordered from them before as well, and so I know a little bit about Naked Wines. I'm going to start straight up with the value proposition. So what their website said and what I've pulled out from it is that they want to be the best place to buy great wine, but it is a little bit more than that as well. A lot of this is about supporting independent winemakers, and actually that's a really interesting value proposition because now we're living in a world where provenance and where the experience of great crafters and makers is really important to the end user, to the end customer. So this idea of really focusing on independent winemakers is a really important one. And what they're also trying to do is focus on price, almost cutting out the middleman. The idea of direct to customers in order to get a really good wholesale price is really important as well. Now, along with the independent winemakers angle, you've got this kind of pattern of the long tail. If you think about Amazon, it's a really good example of a long tail where bookstores can only stock a certain amount of books, but Amazon can stock basically an infinite amount of books because they're a marketplace and because they've got these huge warehouses. And so you've got a long tail, which means lots of different titles of books, not just the most popular ones. This is very much in that world. It's not about really high selling, high volume wines. This is about unique wines that are only available to people within this Naked Wine ecosystem. And that long tail is a very attractive thing for many, many people. The final thing here, it's a bit of a benefit as opposed to directly to do with the value proposition, but it's worth calling out, and that's a money back guarantee. If there are wines that you're not happy with, they will give you a free refund for that bottle, and this is all about ensuring that they're producing the best quality wines and working with the best winemakers there are, because their quality is really important to them. Okay, let's jump into the audience. Now, customer segment's pretty straightforward. We're probably talking about occasional wine drinkers. I guess that kind of puts me in that category. I don't drink wine all the time, but I might have a bottle of wine or so once a week, something like that. So it's not crazy amounts of wine. People that enjoy a good bottle of wine but aren't necessarily drinking it all the time. They're definitely not connoisseurs. They're definitely not people who only live and breathe and talk about wine all the time, but they are people that are interested in it. The second thing is that they have this category of angels. Now, this is a really interesting point. We're going to come back to it when we talk about revenue streams and their business model. But an angel is someone who basically buys into a subscription service almost, but they're actually investing in the winemakers. So it's kind of like lots of different business patterns that are going on. We've got the subscription model, we've got a marketplace, we've also got a crowdfunding angle as well. And so angels actually invest their money into winemakers, so it gives the winemakers an opportunity to grow and to increase their sales and to increase the security that they have around creating wines as well. Innovate more with wines and create new wines as well, which is a really big angle of what Naked Wines is all about. And the final thing is coming on to those winemakers. They're kind of a customer segment. I think the thing I'm trying to focus on here is that there is this two-sided marketplace with Naked Wines. They're bringing together winemakers and the occasional drinkers, trying to turn those occasional wine drinkers into angels. That, of course, that link between the maker and the angel is a really critical part of Naked Wines' business model and offering in general. They do this in a number of ways. They do this through emails to kind of find out about the winemakers. There's also got profiles for every single winemaker. I think there's like 112, 130, 116, something like that, just over 100 different winemakers that are making a number of wines, each of them. So you can go into their profiles and find out exactly all about them, where they're from, their locations, what grape varieties they use, what different types of wine they create. You can see pictures of their vineyards, they can see pictures of their winemaking process. So it's really kind of an intimate connection is what they're trying to build between the winemakers and the angels, the end users and consumers really. The final thing to talk about with the customer relationship is the benefits that they're giving to angels. They are really trying to get people bought into this subscription model and this crowdfunding model with the angels. And one of the benefits is that they give discounts. They do tasting days. They even, if you buy a certain amount of wine in 1 month, they'll give you a free bottle as a taster as well. Onto the channels. Their website marketplace is really the key one, but they also do have an app. They try to get you in initially with kind of a really good friends recommendation scheme, where you can get money off yourself for recommending someone, but the person gets money off their first case of wine as well. I did this. I think I got 6 bottles, 3 whites, 3 reds, and paid less than £30. So averaging less than £5 per bottle of wine for that first case. Well worth doing. Looks like some really good wines in there as well, so that's going to be enjoyable. Might even try one tonight. The additional thing is they use email a lot. I've only signed up quite recently, but their emails are amazing. They're really well crafted. They kind of have a bit of a jovial, bit of a kind of a jokey direction as well, but they are good. And they talk about the things that are important to them and the things that are important to their angels as well. Really, on the left-hand side of the business model canvas, this is mostly about the kind of operational side and the business, how the business works, that kind of thing. We're not going to focus on that too much because the key things for me are about the customers and the revenue models. But other than to highlight the key partners, of course, the winemakers, they can't get things done without those winemakers being there. So that's a really important part of it. So over onto the revenue streams, and the first one is this kind of direct to customer purchase. So this is using the marketplace website that they've got. But the other thing, the big thing for them is this monthly angel subscription. So I'm going to dig into this a little bit more detail. It's not just a subscription where you pay something for a month and they send you a box of wine at their discretion. It's different to that. What you do instead is you put money into a piggy bank, and they call it a piggy bank. You pay £20, I think it's like 40 Australian dollars, 30 odd US dollars, whatever that is, about £20 each month, and it kind of goes into your piggy bank. They use that money to go and support the winemakers. The money that we put in as users, as consumers, the £20 a month, that goes to supporting the winemakers. But you don't have to spend it. And if you don't spend it, here's one of the key things for me. You can take that money back any time. So it's not a subscription where you have to have a regular thing being sent to you. It's a subscription that you put that money into a piggy bank. It could be that you want to save it all for Christmas and you buy a whole load of cases for Christmas. It could be that you do use it each month. So there's a whole load of different ways that you can do it. But as an angel, you do get the discounts and you do get all of those benefits as being an angel as well. It's kind of an interesting idea. I've not come across this before, where you're putting money into like an account, into a saving kind of piggy bank account, and then only spending it when you want to. But it's a really, really interesting model. I'm wondering at this point, what else could this model be used for? I think this is a really good example. So I'd love to hear if anyone else has got any other stories or any other indications about using this kind of model where you're putting money into an account ready to be spent, but you're not actually spending it directly on monthly purchases. The other revenue stream, as I've talked about, of course, the winemaker percentage as well. But the really interesting one for me is definitely this monthly angel subscription. Well, other businesses might be able to use this business model pattern in order to support crafters, makers, individual creators of things, and be able to then sell those to a wider market. What other ways could we do this for other crafters? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you know of this business model working somewhere else, tell us. I'd love to know. I'd love to know more about that. How can you see that working? That would be a fascinating and brilliant thing to be able to do and find out more about. So do let us know in the comments. Now, if this is the first time that you've seen my channel, I would absolutely love it if you could subscribe. It would mean so much to me. It just means the world, and it would help me out so much, particularly with that YouTube algorithm. So please do subscribe. If you like this, share it with somebody as well. If you're from Naked Wines, tell me, is this right? Am I broadly there? Did you use the business model canvas to come up with these ideas as well? I'd love to hear from someone at Naked Wines. If you know anyone at Naked Wines, send it on to them. Get in touch. I'd love to hear about it. That is going to be it for now. All I have left to do is say, do you know what? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm going to go and pour myself a glass of wine, and I'll see you later.